waiting for people to come in. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. We'll just wait for a few more seconds for people to join in, and we'll be starting this briefing on the global platform on disaster risk reduction. So bear with us really a few seconds so as to allow everyone to get in. Okay, let's start. I think more will join. So welcome to this briefing on the upcoming global platform on disaster risk reduction that will take place in 2 months, almost exactly, in Geneva from the 2nd to the 6th of June. Before we start, just a few housekeeping matters for you to know. The meeting is being recorded and will be made available on our website afterwards pretty quickly for those who will not be able to join today. It will be held in English only, but there's live captioning available so that you may follow the meeting in your own language. That works pretty well, I have to say, so don't hesitate to use that. And don't hesitate as well to use the Q&A available on the Zoom to raise your questions that we'll try to answer in the second part of this briefing. So my name is Antu Duong. I'm the co-director of the Global Cities Hub. And for those who don't know us yet, we are an organization that is based in Geneva and that pursues 2 objectives. The first one being to connect local and regional governments to the UN, the United Nations, to other international organizations based in Geneva to enhance the influence of local and regional governments in global governance. To do so, we encourage international organizations to work with cities and regions and vice versa. And the second objective that we pursue is that we promote the urban in general on the agenda of the international community, because we all know it, our future is urban. So I'm very pleased to co-host this meeting with UNDRR. You will hear this acronym pretty often. It's the UN Office for Disaster Risk Reduction and Making Cities Resilience 2030, MCR 2030, which is a unique multi-stakeholder initiative that aims at improving resilience at the local level. So Geneva is very known for hosting a wide range of international conferences, covering a lot of different issues: health, human rights, humanitarian affairs, trade, much more. One area that may be a bit less well known, yet equally significant, is disaster risk reduction. So headquartered in Geneva, UNDRR is the UN entity that helps decision makers better understand and act on risks so that we may live in a world that no longer is threatened by disasters. As such, UNDRR convenes and organizes the upcoming global platform on disaster risk reduction. And so today's briefing has been set up specifically for cities and regions to shed light on that upcoming big event, to better explain what is this international gathering about, what relevant issues will be discussed at the global platform on disaster risk reduction, which session should be prioritized from the point of view of cities and regions willing to attend, how can cities and regions take part in it, and what are the expected outcomes of that event. There's a huge interest in that briefing, in that event, with more than 900 people who have registered. So thanks a lot for your interest. And at the end of the briefing, I really hope that you'll get a clearer understanding of why you should participate in the GPDRR, the Global Platform on Disaster Risk Reduction, how you can get involved, what outcomes you'll take away from it. So before handing over to the very distinguished speakers around here, let me simply announce that the Global Cities Hub will organize a networking event for cities and regions that will be in person in Geneva in June. And so we will be sending personal invitations in the upcoming weeks so that we can all meet basically during that big gathering next month. So let us now start with the briefing per se. We will start with Elina Palm next to me. Elina, you are a Senior Coordination Officer at UNDRR here in Geneva. You've been working for UNDRR for more than 20 years, if I'm not mistaken, and you've participated in all GPDRR since its very inception. So you're now leading the GPDRR Secretariat, organizing the upcoming event. And there's no one better than you, I think, to explain what the GPDRR is, how it connects to the Sendai Framework for disaster risk reduction, and the evolution that you witnessed over the years. So, questions for you. Could you share more about the GPDRR, how it's really been designed as a multi-stakeholder event? What are the key topics that will be covered during this major gathering, and what the program looks like? Additionally, it would be great if you could also explain very logistical matters. How can cities and regions register, and provide some guidance about how to get involved in the event, particularly, again, from that logistical, point of view. Floor is yours, Elina.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Antu, and thank you for all of you to be here here in the Villa Rico and also online. It's real pleasure to be here and share some information on the global platform. And I think, Antu, you already gave an excellent introduction to explain what is it about. But I have a couple of slides to facilitate this introduction. And I would like to start by, you can go to the next slide, just very brief to give you the context of the global platform, a little bit of the genesis, because it's something that actually member states have established. It was the UN General Assembly that established this after the Kyoto Framework for Action had been negotiated in 2005. So it has existed for about 20 years now. We have had many sessions, most of them here in Geneva, but also outside. And currently it's been held every 3 years. Just why member states wanted to establish something like that, it's because they recognize that them alone, governments alone, cannot address the huge challenge of increasing disaster risk, that we need to have an inclusive multi-stakeholder approach, and that's also where the local governments are very important partner. But we have 18 different stakeholder groups actually participating, whether it's youth, it's persons with disability, private sector, academia, etc., etc. So having said that, it is inclusive, all of society, multi-stakeholder event, and there is no intergovernmental negotiation. So that takes off the pressure of coming up with a negotiated outcome document. And the emphasis is really sharing progress made, good practices, networking, learning from each other, etc. And as mentioned before, it's organized and convened by UNDRR. I want to mention another thing here is that why the upcoming global platform is so important is we had 2 years ago, member states came together in New York for the midterm review of the Sendai Framework for Action, which is the current framework that is like the Bible of the DRR community. To assess the progress, and the outcome of that was the political declaration. So this global platform is very much seen as the next platform to discuss what progress has been made, how we have been able to course correct, because one of the messages coming out from the midterm review was that we are actually not on track on all these different targets and goals that we have decided about. So let me move to the next slide just to give you a little overview. Of course, this platform is being co-chaired by our SRSD Kamal Kishore and also Her Excellency Patricia Danzi, who's the head of the Swiss Development Corporation from Government of Switzerland. And we also expect to have the Minister for Foreign Affairs, Ignacio Cassis, in the opening ceremony. The overall theme is Everyday Counts, Act for Resilience Today, and this is really in line with the sense of urgency that it's now or never moment. We have to get back on track and accelerate. And there is no better moment than having all the different stakeholders together to share. It's a positive event in that sense. The dates, 2nd to 6th of June. Opening ceremony will take place on the 3rd of June. And the main venue is the CICG and the CCV next to it. But there's one event at the WMO, which is the early warning for all multi-stakeholder forum taking place during the 2 preparatory days. We expect, this is an estimate, but based on the previous global platforms, over 4,000 participants, and it's going to be hybrid. So we expect a large number of participants online as well. And we can move to the next one. So as I mentioned, there are 2 preparatory days, 2nd and 3rd. And there are 3 main events taking place during those days. There is the 3rd stakeholder forum, and this is really organized by those 18 stakeholder groups in collaboration with us, that it is open for governments as well. And it's really, they have organized the program according to some of the themes are coming out from the Sendai Framework as well. Then we have the Global Early Warning for All Multi-Stakeholder Forum. You may have heard about this initiative that was launched by the Secretary General a couple of years ago, Early Warning for All. And we are celebrating this milestone to have this multi-stakeholder forum, which is organized, co-led by WMO UNDRR, together with 15 different UN or other organizations who are also involved in the preparations, and really to accelerate actions on this initiative.
May I ask a quick question?
Can we finish? Sorry, can we finish the presentation and then take questions later, if you don't mind?
And then there is another one. This is the World Resilient Recovery Conference. It builds on previous conferences on recovery and have been also organized by UNDRR together with several partners, including the World Bank, UNDP, and many others under the umbrella of the International Recovery Platform. This one takes place one day on 3rd of June, and it's at the CICG. And then there are a number of other events like regional gatherings. Those prep days are really the partner-led initiatives, and also like different groups will come together to prepare for the official days. And then we can move to the official days. Yes, this one. So here we have a number of different sessions. We have high-level dialogues, thematic sessions, special events, and also we have ministerial roundtables. We have multi-stakeholder plenaries. They're all organized across these 4 priority areas of the political declaration, but also the Sendai Framework, distilling really the questions that came out from the political declaration and how we can address them and how we can share good progress, but also challenges. And also to emphasize that regional local bodies are really recognized as central for effective governance. So we had, in order to come up with the program, we had an inclusive process, the consultation process, where we had an online survey, but also consultations with stakeholders and member states and UN system. And it came very strongly that the localization of Sendai Framework and local action is very important to be able to achieve the goals of the Sendai Framework. There are many sessions that are relevant: local, regional risk governance, urban resilience. Sometimes you see it in the title of the session, but sometimes even if it's not mentioned local, it can still be very relevant. And we can just show the next slide. I'm not going to go into details, and it's very tiny, but you will receive this afterwards. But it's basically, you can see this is the official program. So over 3 days. And during the lunchtime, we have this informal program. We have the side events, the learning labs, and I'll come to that. All this information is available on our website. There's a dynamic agenda where you can search, filtering, keywords, etc. So you have the description of the session, the key questions, etc. But this is just the overview. Then we can go to the next one. So I mentioned there is an informal program. And this is really where partners come together to the innovative part of the whole platform. We have something called Innovation Platform. 27 partners have been selected to showcase new application. The topic this time is emerging technologies, innovative approaches in DRR space. We expect to have even robots there to answer questions on DRR. We have also side events that are led by partners. So these are not organized by UNDRR. It's either governments, stakeholder, different organizations, etc. And those are during the lunchtime. Ignite stage. This is kind of like our TED Talk style presentation on DRR, 15-minute presentation on a stage in the lobby area of the CICG. And it's very popular. So we have 96 speakers. This one goes during the official days from morning to the evening. And then we have the learning labs. This is something that we inserted in the program in 2019, 6 years ago. And it was every time we finish a global platform, we do like a survey to participants to ask, excuse me, what else we can improve and there was a huge appetite to have these small group discussions. We call them learning labs because it's peer-to-peer learning event in a smaller room and in a smaller setting. Then we can go to the next slide, please. So I mentioned at the beginning of this presentation that the outcome document is not a negotiated outcome. It's going to be co-chair's summary, building on the essence coming from the official program. And that will be presented on the last day by Switzerland, by the host country. And but on this slide, we have selected some potential outcomes that we think that will be interesting for the local authorities. For example, fostering the city-to-city collaboration, networking, learning. We heard about this networking event that will be organized, and throughout the platform there are many opportunities for that. We have some mayors invited in the sessions also in the official program, and collaborating, and this is very important, across sectors and levels of government, that we don't have these different groups in silos, but they come together, and that's what makes it really interesting. Renewed emphasis and focus on local urban DRR and its place in the Sendai Framework, and strategies and success stories. So this time we are trying to, so you will hear these things throughout the platform in different sessions and presentations, that we will now collect them and prepare something like a compendium so that afterwards it becomes like a resource to be kept. And then focus on local risk governance, planning, risk-informed urban development. So these are just something we distilled, we think are very interesting for this audience. But of course, when you look at the program, any of the topic would be interesting because it's about the risk knowledge, it's about governance, it's about financing, it's about early warning, early anticipatory action, etc. They are all topics that are relevant for local authorities. And then this is, I think, the last slide, just practical information. So the good news is that local authorities can register directly. Some governments include local authorities in their composition of the delegation, but it's not the requirement for us. So you can register directly. We use the Indigo system, and you will get the digital badge after you have been approved. So the link is there. It's a hybrid conference, so if you want to join online, you still have to be registered and vetted because it's a UN conference. But there is this possibility in case you are not able to travel. In case you travel, please arrange it. And also the hotel accommodation, because hotels are getting really fully booked because there are other things happening in Geneva that week. And then we have, of course, the website. So you can find lots of information on the program and also the information note for participants. and the program handbook that is currently being translated into 6 UN languages will be also available soon. Thank you very much. I think I stop here.
Yes, great. Thank you so much, Elina, for all those information. Super useful. I think we will share the presentation, if you don't mind, so that everyone has, you know, the right links and all the very rich program that basically you have presented. There's something for everyone, really. So I would really, again, encourage you to have a very close look at the program and identify, you know, which sessions you would like to follow. Also, may I underline, you know, and really commend UNDRR for what really is an inclusive process, multi-stakeholder. It's not just a word, you mean it. And therefore, you know, really, it's not that often that we see such an inclusive process in the UN. So worth to underline it. We'll take, again, there are loads of questions I can see online. Some of them have already been responded by your presentation about how to register. I know you also have a question, but I would like to do all the presentations in one go and then move on with the questions. I would like now to move on to Sanjaya. Sanjaya, do you see us? Yes, you're here. Thank you. Sanjaya, you are leading the Secretariat of Making Cities Resilience 2030 from the UNDRR office in Incheon in the Republic of Korea. So it's late for you. Sorry about this. But we're very pleased to have you with us and would like to hear a little bit more about Making Cities Resilient 2030 and some of its key milestones and achievement, because I think it's particularly relevant for cities and regions. Could you also tell us how that initiative, multi-stakeholder initiative, is linked basically to the global platform on disaster risk reduction? How basically the MCR 2030 complement the outcomes of the GPDRR and vice versa? And why basically, could you also explain from your point of view, why the GPDRR is particularly relevant for cities and regions, and maybe complement what Elina has said earlier? Floor is yours, Sanjaya.
Thank you very much. And it's a pleasure to address more than 300 participants from all over the world right now. Let me first introduce what is the MCR 2030. So the Making Cities Resilient 2030 is a global initiative which follows the Making Cities Resilient campaign, which ran for 10 years from 2010 to 2020. From 21, we have the MCR 2030. The focus has changed a bit. The earlier campaign was focusing only on advocacy, whereas the 2030 MCR 2030 focuses on advocacy plus implementation. We have in the MCR 2030 today more than 1,800 cities from around the world and more than 450 partners who have joined to help cities achieve their levels of resilience. So this being a global initiative which includes some of the core partners who are the who's who of urban resilience, including, for example, the Resilient Cities Network, which is here with us today, but also UN Habitat, World Bank, UCLG, ICLE, World Council for City Data, UNDP, and others. So they are all trying to ensure that the urban resilience agenda is adequately covered in all global frameworks, and also that the advocacy is done with the mayors and the leaders and the national governments who play a big role in ensuring urban resilience programs. So, so that is the key objectives of the MCR 2030, and it fits in very well with the outcomes and the introduction on the global platform that Elina just presented. So if we go to the next slide, I'm going to explain the 10 reasons why cities and local governments should not miss the global platform. And as you heard already, there are opportunities to be there in person, but if you're not able to travel, then there are opportunities to join some of the sessions online as well. So firstly, the networking, because the global platform has thousands of participants from national governments, international organizations, local governments, research organizations, donors, finance stakeholders, and others. So it is an excellent networking opportunity for all the local governments, but also the local government practitioners, the urban resilience practitioners, who want to learn more or share more. Second, and that leads to the second point, the sharing of the experiences. So it's a very good venue for sharing your experiences through the various events from the audience. Also to pick up the lessons learned and the best practices of other participants, so that you can better inform your local government endeavors for enhancing resilience. The third point, it gives you an opportunity to access the latest research and innovative measures that have been taken, because new developments, new resources, new approaches that local governments have taken or national governments have taken to promote urban resilience are all going to be discussed and shared at the global platform. Fourth, it's an opportunity to influence global policy. So if the local governments are there, the cities are there, they can advocate for policies and actions to shape the global frameworks, but also to ensure that the local perspective is well reflected in these frameworks. Fifth reason is the capacity building, because as Elena already showed, there are the learning labs, there are the innovation platform, the Ignite stage. So all of these are opportunities to discuss, to network, and to pick up good examples. Sixth is to align with the global framework. So again, you can see where the global frameworks are heading, what are the the midterm situation with the various global frameworks, including the Sendai Framework, and how you can align what you are doing with that. Seventh, again, a very important point is that there will be a number of international organizations, of course, but also donors and donor nations present. So it's a good opportunity to network and see, what are the opportunities available to access funding, technical assistance, and partnerships. Eighth is, again, the latest strategies will be on display on how to ensure inclusiveness and equity in the DRR plans and policies. The ninth is ensuring the interaction and the interlink between DRR and climate change, especially the climate change adaptation. So this will be discussed, and then there will be many partners present there who can help you pick up some good practices. And the last but not least is, of course, what Elena already talked about, that it's not just the global platform. There's the early warning for all. There's the reconstruction conference. There's the innovation platform, the side events, the learning labs, and the Ignite stage. So these are all happening over the week in Geneva, and it's definitely an event which is very much focused on knowledge sharing and exchange. So must go for local governments and cities. Over.
Thank you so much, Sanjaya. It's a perfect argument. If you still hesitate, take all those arguments and present them to your administration, and hopefully, you will be convincing enough to be allowed to go and participate to the global platform in Geneva next month. So thanks a lot for that. I think we got your message through about why basically cities and regions should take part in that event because of all those different arguments, networking, sharing capacity, learning, innovation, influencing the global framework as well. So I can only, encourage you to basically relay those arguments internally and come to Geneva. Thanks a lot for that, Sanjaya. We now turn to Lauren Sorkin.
Just before leaving the room, I wanted to say in 1 second who I am.
Yes.
I'm just a UN accredited journalist, and I read each week the calendar of events of International Geneva. I saw there are 2 interesting events around, so I came here for a few minutes to know what it is about, and I'm going to leave.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. No worries.
I didn't want you to raise your eyebrows the rest of the day wondering who was that spy.
No worry, no worry. We open. Thank you, sir. Lauren, are you with us? Yes, great. Lauren, thank you so much for taking the time to take part in this briefing as well. You are the Executive Director of the Resilient Cities Network. It's a big city network that helps its members develop resilience strategy. At the core of it, with chief resilience officers really playing a central role in developing those strategies for many cities worldwide. We would be very keen to hear a little bit more about the Resilient Cities Network. What does it offer to its member? And also to hear about how you, as this city network, engage in resilience, will basically engage with the GPDRR. What do you expect from that big event? And how basically the GPDRR will help move forward your work as a city network dedicated to this issue of urban resilience. So, Lauren, we're all yours.
Thank you so much, and it's a pleasure to be here. Better than to hear from me, I would like to show a short video that really showcases what the network does and the voices of our membership. So I'm going to actually turn the microphone and the screen back over to the team to show the video first, and then I'll speak to the specific opportunity that we have here with the briefing.
Thank you. There you go.
The Resilient Cities Network started with a catalytic investment from the Rockefeller Foundation in 2013. 100 Resilient Cities was about the why. Resilient Cities Network is about the how.
One of 100 RC's greatest achievements was putting urban resilience on the map and installing 100 chief resilience officers in 48 countries around the globe.
The network of chief resilience officers came together to support their work into the future.
So Dallas is really committed to being part of the Resilient Cities Network because we recognize the value that all of the practitioners bring to the table.
Es a través de esta red de Resilient Cities Network donde se abre este espacio para dialogar en confianza sobre los riesgos que vivimos y sobre nuestras vulnerabilidades.
We bring together city in Africa, city in Asia, city in Europe. They all work with the same goal and the same objective.
At the heart of our strategy are cities, because cities are the closest to the people themselves. Empowering communities is important. You're not stepping in and saying you know what's best, but you're going in, sitting down and saying, okay, what are the needs here?
Our relationships and the trust that we have in and with community are fundamental to resilience.
We mobilize multi-city programs so that cities can deliver on priority themes. Priority themes include climate resilience, circularity, and equity.
When Urban Oceans approached us, we were delighted because Their objective globally is to really look at cities and how they manage solid waste, with particular focus on plastic leakage into the oceans.
The role of the network, I think, is critical in providing that subject matter expertise and really intelligence from practicing resilience that cities can share.
Houston is partaking in the Resilience for Communities program with Resilient Cities Network and the Z Zurich Foundation.
We needed a city partner, and one of the most obvious things that we found was the Resilient Cities Network.
We empower our cities by giving them access to tools, approaches, and trainings through Resilient Cities Network and through peer-to-peer communities of practice. I am so grateful to Resilient Cities team, to the cities that we work with, and to the partnerships that enable change to happen.
Great, thanks for that, Lauren. And now it was really great to learn a little bit more about the network, and it would be great to better understand now how you will engage at the GPDRR, basically. Floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Around the platform is tied to what makes Resilient Cities Network special and what makes me very proud to also be the co-chair of Making Cities Resilient 2030. At the core, no city should have to face resilience challenges alone. Resilient Cities Network is a network of over 100 cities that has been practicing resilience for more than a decade. In our network, what makes it very special are chief resilience officers. And I know that some of our chief resilience officers, including Ahmed from Ramallah, are on the call right now. And these experts in our network have been mainstreaming resilience through their strategies and their programs now for many years. We as a network exist in order to do three things. One, to empower cities and their communities. And you heard this in the video. The second is to deliver on the knowledge and empowerment by helping cities to access programs. And the third is to mobilize funding with our cities. Now, when we think about the platform and the agenda that was presented today, which is a fantastic agenda, we see that all of the elements of what is necessary to minimize risk and build resilience are incorporated there. You have the opportunity to network, to exchange, and to build knowledge with peers and with experts. There are opportunities to learn about programs that other cities are advancing and perhaps even to join them. We just heard from Sanjaya about the kinds of partners who will be there at the platform. And finally, on mobilization of funding, this is absolutely critical. We are in a time where over the course of the next decade, we will see an incredible amount of infrastructure being built, in particular in our cities in emerging markets. We need those investments to be made wisely. We need to continue to have conversations about how we have risk-informed investment and really minimize disasters and improve on resilience. The platform really provides us as a network with an opportunity to connect to the knowledge of our peers, other city networks, intergovernmental organizations, bilateral partners, and even in the MCR more broadly, the private sector. So we really see that this platform provides access to those elements that are critical to accelerate building resilience in cities. The last thing I want to say is really about this opportunity that we have as a global community and why initiatives like the global platform and the timing now in June are so critical. We are increasingly living in a time where national governments are very volatile, and international collaboration can seem more complex than it has in many of our lifetimes. But this doesn't change the needs that cities have. It does not change the level of risk that we as communities, as urban communities, are facing. And so we need to, whether we vote with our feet and actually travel, or whether we show up online, we need to be making more opportunities to gather our knowledge, to exchange, and then to use that knowledge to act. So I want to thank you for the opportunity to share today, and then I'm going to hand the floor back over to you.
Thank you, Lauren. I really like what you said at the very end, that indeed it is maybe more difficult for national governments to collaborate today. And we're living very challenging times, but indeed the risks don't, go away, and we still need to very much collaborate at the local level, with other stakeholders to manage risks. So thanks a lot for that. Great to know that indeed there are lots of connections between your work and the GPDRR, and that your members will also take part in the GPDRR. Last but not least, I'm now turning to Marie Bruning, who is today with us. You are representing Switzerland today, who will be hosting and co-chairing the GPDRR, as you've mentioned at the very beginning, Elina. It would be great to better understand what the role of co-chairs entail. One of your responsibility, and you have also mentioned it, will be to work on the outcome of the GPDRR, which is the co-chair summary. What will be the key elements included in that summary? How can you ensure that topics like urban resilience, localizing the Sendai Framework, which is very core to basically achieving the goals of the Sendai Framework, how can we ensure that other relevant issues for cities and regions will be basically taken in that co-chair summary? And what kind of follow-up basically takes place once the co-chair summary is finalized, adopted? So as a state representative, it would be really good to hear from you, your perspective as state and co-chair. The floor is yours.
Thanks. And thanks for the organization of this briefing and for the interesting question. So first of all, just to mention that it's a great honor to Switzerland to host and co-chair the global platform for disaster risk reduction. As you might know, it takes place every 3 years, alternating between Switzerland and another country. So only every 6 years here in Switzerland. So it's really a great momentum. So as a co-chair, Switzerland will provide political leadership throughout the process, opening and closing the conference alongside UNDRR, facilitating inclusive and constructive dialogue among all stakeholders, and guiding the overall strategic direction of the platform. One of the key responsibilities for us will be to prepare and deliver the co-chair summary, as you just mentioned, which is a document that captures the main message and outcome of the global platform. As already mentioned by Elina, this summary is not a negotiated declaration. It really reflects the discussion, ideas, and experience shared during the global platform itself. So this is why we are strongly encouraging the active participation of all stakeholders, national governments, cities, regions, civil society, youth, academia, and the private sector. The global platform, you already mentioned it, is really an inclusive platform, and the strength and relevance of the outcome document, we rely also on the diversity of contribution we hear during the session. So we are committed to ensure that the localization of the Sendai Framework and the voice of local and regional government are reflected in both the program and the co-chair summary. So for that, we are working closely also with UNDRR and different stakeholders, such as the Cities Hub, to ensure strong local representation and meaningful participation. We encourage also all of cities and regions not only to attend the global platform, but also to bring their stories, challenges, and innovation to the forefront of the discussion. We did take part to all different sessions that Elina just showed you, and you can see all of them in the program. And I would highlight that especially in today's context of rapid geopolitical changes, shrinking budgets, and challenging of emerging risk, it's more pressing than ever to integrate DRR into international agenda, but also into national and local strategies. So what happened after the summary is finalized, after the global platform? It's not the end, it's just the continuity of a process. With only 5 years remaining to meet the goal of the Sendai Framework and the 2030 agenda, the global platform represents a decisive opportunity, I think, to review the progress, close gaps, and accelerate implementation. And it will feed into global processes, such as the high-level political forums that take place in New York, but serve also as a strategic input for future DRR programming. So Switzerland will also attend the global platform as a state representative. And here as well, we are committed to multi-level collaboration and representation. So through an inclusive and consultative process, all Swiss actors involved in DRR have been involved in the organization of the conference from the outset, that will also represent and be present in our delegation with this diversity of actors and voices. And I hope this could serve also as an inspiration for others. So we believe that strong cooperation between national, local levels is key, not just during the global platform, but also as a foundation for long-term resilience. Maybe just in closing, I would like to say also that the global platform is more than just a conference. For us, it's really a moment of shared ownership, and we are fully committed to make it a space where all voices are heard and where real momentum is built, but together. So we are looking forward to welcome all of you and see you here in Geneva in June.
Thank you so much, Marie. And I think one of the message I also want to convey to cities and regions that are watching at the moment is, if you come, if you participate, shout out loud so that, your voice can also be heard and also be integrated. Your issues can be integrated in this co-chair summary, which we understand is part of a process, of a bigger process. But that's very important to hear the voices of local and regional government throughout the process. That is very relevant. I mean, there are many differences between competencies between local and regional governments worldwide, but one thing that is sure is that all of you somehow have to prepare, have to prevent, disasters and manage risk. And therefore, a good way to do it in an effective manner is to share with others, basically. So thanks a lot for that, Marie. There are loads of questions. I believe many of them have somehow been responded during the briefing. There were questions about how to register. If we could get a letter of invitation. No, you don't get a letter of invitation. You register on, the link that has been provided. We'll share it with you afterwards. There's no particular funding, I believe, to facilitate the participation of cities and regions, but an alternative for that is online sessions. All of them, apart from the ministerial closed meeting, will be, available for you to attend online. So you need to register again, but then you will be able to basically follow what is being said and maybe even intervene during the sessions. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes, depending on the session. Yeah, that's the case. So I'm not sure we'll have time to answer all questions. There was one here though. Sorry, sir. I know you've been waiting for long.
It's still a question I'd like to address to you, but also to you, Madame, as well. Overall, I know there won't be a negotiated text, but what are you expecting that what should be achieved at the end of the whole week? What's the outcome?
I can they're actually, yeah, and happy to share afterwards also more information. There's a concept now. So there are expected outcomes. One is the stock taking of the progress made.
Progress made of Sendai?
Of Sendai Framework, yes.
Oh, okay.
It's a global stock take.
Right.
That there are different inputs. We have, of course, the Sendai Framework monitor data, but also coming from all these sessions. So that's one thing. Another one is also the sharing of good practices.
In which way good practices?
Good practices that are relevant for how to accelerate the implementation of the Sendai Framework, how to course correct. So we are putting, and it's actually inserted in the guiding questions of many of the sessions. We are also expecting stronger political commitment. And there are some sessions addressing that. We have 2 ministerial roundtables on 2 different topics. One is on financing, the other one is on school safety. And then we have 4 multi-stakeholder plenaries. And we are, one of the guiding question again is like the commitment. So we expect governments also to commit. So we have to look back what has been done, what can be done better, but also like where do we stand now, and what should we do to course correct and accelerate the implementation, knowing that there are only five years to go. And then the final point to answer your question, what we expect in this co-chair summary is also the specific recommendations on certain topics that are highlighted in the Sendai Framework. I just want to mention one concrete on financing. You might be aware there's the Financing for Development conference coming up in June.
Sevilla.
And that's a different process. That's a negotiation process. So there's no official or direct link from the global platform to that. But we expect, if you look at the program, there are several sessions on financing. We expect that and hope that those recommendations would find their way to the negotiators of the FFD and hopefully be an information and input to that negotiation as well through certain recommendations. So I hope I answered your question.
Certainly somewhat. But just to briefly present myself and also next to me, my partner, we do go to the HLBF in New York regularly. And we work with UN Habitat, working on metropolitan cities. So I see the invitation comes from Global Cities Hub and resilience. I hear Sendai. At the moment, I'm still seeing a lot of opportunities to go talk and to discuss. But what's missing in terms of resilience? Is there some, let's say, identified shortcoming or problem of cities and sustainable development and disasters? Is there something specifically missing or something that has to be improved? And hence the whole week would generate solutions. Is that what I get from your presentations? Or?
Yeah, that's very much also this identifying the gaps and also how to address them, because there might be an issue somewhere in the world and then there's another city who may have encountered the same problem but can also share these good practices.
Is it linked to SDG 11?
It is, yes. SDG 11 and 13 and also SDG 1. I would say that all SDGs are important for us. Exactly. And just to go back on UN Habitat, we work with the whole UN system. So we have a UN system focal point group of 40 different entities and they are fully involved in the preparations as well.
Thanks.
Thank you so much, Alina, for all those answers. I also see, so other questions about specific situation in Pakistan, Indonesia, we're not able to take them now, basically, because this is really the briefing about, the GPDRR in general. There was one question about the ministerial roundtable. If you could answer that one.
What's the question?
Can you tell more about the ministerial roundtable?
Yes.
In 2 words.
So it's I mentioned there are two different topics, and we have issued a note verbal to all governments about 3 weeks ago on the guidance, and it's really a space for ministers to come together amongst themselves and share their good practice, but also the commitment. The commitment is now the middle name of the global platform, I would say. And then these are only for ministers, plus we have 5 seats for stakeholders. So depending on the topic, there will be by invitation by our SRST a seat for civil society, could be private sector. In the education one, it might be a UNICEF, UNESCO, UN agency dealing with that. But this is 5 seats, but otherwise it's ministers, and it's a round table where they have 3 minutes intervention to address questions that have been already submitted to them through that note verbal. So that's what I can share.
Thank you. Are there any other questions that remain unanswered? I'm not sure I can see everything. Yes, make it a little bit bigger. What kind of activities are now open for private sectors to introduce their projects? Is the program that you presented earlier already all closed? You've been working on this for a whole year, basically. It's not coming out like this, out of the chapeau, I would say. So is there still space, basically, to have more speakers, or it's all closed and just come and attend and network and participate?
Good question. Yes, it's been 2 years. We have been
2 years
for this.
Okay.
I would say that, yes, of course, we have sent out the invitations. There could be opportunities if a speaker cannot make it. But we have actually all the sessions are multi-stakeholder. So private sector has already been invited to many sessions as a speaker. And we also have private sector involved as a side event organizer. So they're actually fully involved already. But to answer your question, now it's a bit late. It could happen if we have a cancellation, but it's not the time when we start thinking like who to invite. So yes.
So next time we'll do this briefing 2 years in advance.
Yes.
To make sure that we have everyone on board. But thanks for that. I think we're getting close to the end of that briefing. I hope you found it useful. I can see that there are quite a lot of information also shared on the Q&A from different partners that will be participating in the GPDRR. So thanks for that. We'll be sharing the presentations that have been made today. We'll be also, sharing that information to you, also putting the recording of the event for those who could not attend on, online, so that you can look at the event again, just in case. We also had some questions in advance from a humanitarian, a person working in the humanitarian WASH sector, very specific questions, thematic questions. I would say that we cannot answer those questions here at the briefing, but definitely those issues that you mentioned about early warning detection system, about innovative financing models, about mobilizing financial resources for LDCs will be addressed during the global platform. So please do attend if you want to find some answers there. Again, I hope you got our message through about the relevance of that event for cities and regions, and we hope to meet a lot of you during the event. And again, we'll be organizing a networking event for cities and regions and city networks as well, participating to the GPDRR, and we'll be sending personal invitations in the weeks to come. So thanks a lot to all our speakers, panelists, for being with us. Lauren, I know you had to leave. Thanks to Marie, thanks to Alina, thanks to Sanjaya. Very useful, and looking forward to seeing you all in person in Geneva next month. 2 months. In 2 months. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.